Okay, I'm having a wonderful chat with Tim Beccue, cellist. He has just graduated from Westmont College, was the winner of the, what's it called, the Westmont Music Guild competition, received 4 years of scholarship at Westmont College, and he is going to be the cello soloist coming up, I guess, next Sunday, a week from now, uh, with the 52nd annual, I mean, this thing goes on and on forever, 52nd annual Fiesta concert in the sunken gardens of the Santa Barbara County Courthouse. It's great, free concert, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Sunday, 5th October. This is the West Coast Symphony Orchestra. Christopher Story VI is the conductor founder, and I think he'll be able to manage it. He's about 93. He's going to at least watch, and the artistic director for the past couple of years, Dr. Michael Schassberger, whom you know very well, Tim at Westmont College, a wonderful mover, shaker, conductor, wonderful guy, done a lot. So this is going to be quite a program. We'll talk about your part in the program in just a second. Let me just run down the program very quickly. Dvorak, Carnival Overture, love that. Since I was a kid, that was one of the first overtures I ever conducted. Georges Bizet, little highlights from Carmen, perfectly appropriate for Fiesta. We got the Camille Saint-Saëns, the cello concerto, that's the number one, the one that everybody knows, very difficult. We'll talk about that. And Mitch Lee, Man of La Mancha, the Man of La Mancha suite. So it's going to be quite a wonderful program. Um, Tell me, I noticed that you play in the Los Angeles Debut Orchestra, Young Musicians Foundation Debut Orchestra, and the American Youth Symphony. Now, those are two of the major youth orchestras in Los Angeles. How many years have you been playing in the orchestras?
Yeah, so those two orchestras, I played 1 year. It was the end of high school, actually.
Hmm.
But then coming to Westmont, it was a little
Oh,
tough
sure.
to make that commute down to LA. So,
Yeah, that
uh,
makes sense. That makes sense.
but I had a great time performing with them. That was really my first kind of big orchestra experience.
Was that debut or American Youth? Which one? Or both?
Uh, well, I guess both. I did more with American Youth Symphony.
Uh-huh.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And just again, so everybody in the greater Southern California area who does not know, these are the two really major young professional, is more like it, young professional orchestras in Los Angeles. So you have had the orchestral experience, you know what that's about. Then you came up to Westmont and got busy, and I'm sure Dr. Schassberger was delighted to have you. Tell me a little bit about your training, your teachers, in music. By the way, Tim, for everybody's information, is a physicist, or is going to be a physicist, I think. Am I out of line here yet? But your
Hmm.
major is physics, and with a minor in mathematics, which sometimes works well with music. You know what I mean? Figuring out the mathematics of how the construction of these great works of art. What's how'd you get started? First of all, your interest in physics and mathematics, your father, family member, and then how come cello came into your life?
Yeah, well, I never had a very direct kind of understanding of what I wanted to do with my life. My dad worked in kind of the analytical realm, and my mom was trained as an artist, so I grew up kind of with a balance of both of those.
Beautiful.
I always enjoyed math in high school and before then even, and started music from a young age with piano. Um, Jumped around to a few other instruments, but really my main focus was cello. So I started cello around age 11 and studied with Andrew Cook till the end of high school. And then at Westmont, I've been studying with Trevor Handy.
Oh, sure. And tell me about Mr. Cook. Did I get the
Yeah,
right
he
name?
we were I think really lucky to have discovered him pretty much from the start of my uh, adventures with the cello. My elementary school uh, teacher recommended that we check him out, and so we did, and so he's really been the only teacher I had up until the end of high school, and he's a great instructor, pushes his students hard, and I think he gives them a good foundation, and I've really appreciated learning from him.
Let's look at the Sanson. First of all, I don't envy Michael one bit. It's a very difficult, very tricky concerto. The slow movement, the rather fast first movement, and then the whole thing escalates into a gigantic mass of notes and a wonderful finale. It's going to be great. Slow move is going to be a little interesting. The slow section, I should say. It's a concerto in one movement, but out there on the beautiful Sunken Gardens patio, I'm sure everything's going to, I know everything's going to be beautifully mic'd, but the slow movement is extremely delicate and interesting. How'd you first discover the Saint-Saëns, and did you study it with one of your teachers at all? What's the history of your knowledge of the Saint-Saëns concerto?
Yeah, so I initially learned the piece freshman year of high school, but actually it was just the first movement and then a cut to the very end. So basically, I learned the first movement in high school and really loved it ever since hearing it for the first time. It's a wonderful, exciting piece.
Yeah, it is.
But then it really kind of sat kind of in the back of the shelf until my last year at Westmont. I decided to kind of pick it up again for a scholarship competition in Santa Barbara. And so had fun with that. I think that's how Dr. Schossberger knew that I played it. And then he asked me if I would like to play it for this concert, the Fiesta concert. And that was exciting, a little bit out of the blue for me, but I was happy to say yes to that. And so I've also learned the second and third movements for this concert. It'll be my first time playing those movements.
Yeah, the whole shebang. I think it's about 22 minutes or something altogether, off the top of my head. And who was your, if any, who might have been your cellist model for this concerto? You know, where you're listening to the records and thinking, "Can I do this? Can I do this?" Anybody
yeah,
in
well,
particular?
I mean, it's great to hear kind of the broad range of interpretations with this famous piece. I happen to like Starker's version a lot. Also Rostropovich.
Sure.
I like the character and the life they give the piece.
Any problems that you're scared to death about coming up next Sunday? It's
Well,
hard.
always
It's very difficult.
Yeah, there's little spots that are hard, of course, and then I think it's always hard just kind of putting the whole thing together and having it all work in one big piece the same way that each little chunk that I'm practicing sounds. So, but it should be fun and exciting to do it all together with the orchestra.
Oh yeah, it will be. It'll be fun and exciting for the orchestra as well. I can tell you. You know, the West Coast Symphony comes together. They have, as professional musicians do more often than not, they have one rehearsal, and again, this concerto is an awful lot of notes for everybody, including the orchestra. But it's such a beautiful piece. The slow movement, as I kind of hinted at earlier, so gorgeous. And again, it's very, very exciting. It's a very good choice, I think, for a public sort of outdoor concert. And so I think all will go well for you. I'm making that prediction immediately. And then what? What happens? You recuperate for a few weeks, and then you mentioned earlier off camera, kind of what's going on in your life for the next year or two.
Yeah, so I graduated last May, and soon after this concert, I'll be starting work with the Las Cumbres Observatory, a company that operates kind of a global network of telescopes. And I've always enjoyed astronomy, working in Westmont's observatory, so I'm quite excited for this opportunity.
I suppose do physics and astronomy go together, I presume?
Yeah, they often do. Quite a big overlap for those two.
Okay, good. And yeah, you were saying before I jumped in and interrupted you. Anything? We talked earlier. This company, is it Santa Barbara based? It's based here in the region anyway. And they
in Goleta, yeah.
In Goleta, okay, good, because they do a series of lectures, sort of tavern lectures, to help the lay public get over their fear and loathing of science and astronomy and all those other complicated things in the universe, so to say. Let me just run down the concert once more, just the programming. Dvorak, Carnival Overture. People, you cannot possibly have anything more fun than that overture. Carnival Overture, Dvorak. Bizet, highlights from Carmen. It is Fiesta. It's going to be wonderful. the cello concerto, and then they're going to wind things down. Dr. Schussberg is going to wind things down with Man of La Mancha. You can't go wrong. What have I forgotten to mention? What's going on after you work? Do you have any? You're going to work for a little bit, kind of get out of the whatever academia for a bit. If I'm intuiting what's going on, do you have any kind of secret 5-year plan?
No secret 5-year plan. Uh, I think grad school is certainly an interest of mine on the horizon. So we'll see how this next year goes with regard to that. Um, and I definitely hope to keep up music, although I'm still trying to figure out how that looks after college.
Sure.
Um, Love playing with friends, and so hopefully at least that'll continue, and
Yeah.
maybe some other opportunities in the future.
Yeah. Some chamber music anyway. And again, the bottom line is, as I'm sure Dr. Schassberger would agree, I certainly feel this way. Music is a very hard career to pursue professionally. Not that you would not be perfectly capable of pursuing such a career. The rewards are, shall we say, slimmer than than if you are a physicist or an astronomer, I believe. Many people pursue music as a sort of a second joy in their lives while they carry on with their other great interests. So I think this is going to be a great future for you. And if you, I'm going to be at the concert, so you better play well. I'm going to. I think if you play it, if you are a pretty decent cellist, and you're going to have to be to do the Saint-Saëns concerto, to get through all those. I'm serious. Notes everywhere, all over the place, all over the fingerboard. Um, uh, uh, People will be asking you to play. You're going to have to find the time. I'm sorry to to spoil your afternoon. Uh, let's see, Tim Beccue, many thanks. You're in West. Are you in Westlake now? Yeah, back home or what?
Santa Barbara.
Oh, you are in Santa Barbara. Okay. Oh, good. So you
Yeah,
don't have to travel far. Oh, that's nice to get to the Sunken
yeah.
Gardens. I'm sure it's going to be a great experience. West Coast Symphony Orchestra plays very well. They get their act together and do their thing as professionals do. And Dr. Schussberger is a wonderful conductor. So he will keep the helm very tight and keep things running very well for that concert. Tim, many thanks for giving me a little bit of your afternoon. We're looking forward to hearing you play. Everybody that's out in Southern California area that can come up to Santa Barbara. It's the last day, the famous 52nd anniversary concert for Fiesta. And as everybody knows in Southern California, Santa Barbara is such a gorgeous city, and the Santa Barbara County Courthouse is one of the most beautiful architectural structures in the world, really. So it's just really going to be something. Sunday, August 5th, 4 o'clock, Courthouse, Sunken Gardens, and you'll have an opportunity, all of you, to hear this really wonderful young cellist give us a good performance of this sense. Tim, many thanks. See ya.
Thanks so much, Dan. I look forward to playing.
Thank you.